Hello and welcome to Go for Games, where I go for great games, bring them back to share so that you can decide if they've earned a spot at your tabletop. My name's Lane LeBaron, and I have such a game for you today called Heat, Pedal to the Metal. This game surprised me. I went to SaltCon this last year, played this game reluctantly with my friends, thinking it's going to be just like every other racing game that I played, like, Formula D, Rallyman, and others. Basically, I had the opinion of if you get in first place, you're going to stay in first place, and it's really hard if you get behind to catch up, and so it just becomes boring. And I just never really liked him. But he was very different. It kind of felt like like a Mario Kart-ish type of feel, where even if you're in the last place, if you play your cards right and you're smart, you can pull ahead and win the game. And so I really like that. Even though you may not be shooting a turtle shell at your opponents, you can trick them and you can go around that turn just at the right amount of speed and speed right by them. And so it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. And I definitely think that this one's a look and a great buy if you're interested. It plays currently 1 to 6 players. It looks like in the game, it also has slots for you to be able to play up to 8. Looks like they're planning to do an expansion. You'll end up each having 20 cards in your hand, where you'll be basically card decking those a little bit. You'll randomly draw those out, 7 cards, and you'll look at them and decide which card you're going to play for your turn. But where it gets really fun is that you take these little teeny cars around a racetrack, and depending upon how many spaces you end up choosing to go will determine on how much heat you accumulate or how fast you're going to be able to speed past your opponent. At the very beginning of the round, you will shift up or shift down, which means you'll have 4 different gears that you can shift from. And if you shift up or down 2, you'll accumulate what's called heat, which is basically a dead card in your hand that you have to clean up and cool. And if you only shift up 1, you don't accumulate it. And so you'll shift up 1 or down, and depending upon what gear you're in, so if you're in like a second gear, you'd play 2 cards, and you'd look through your hand and say, I choose these 2 cards, a 0 and a 5. And that would mean that the sum of those 2 would be 5, so you'd go 5 spaces. And so the interesting thing about it is whatever gear you're in can really harm or help you. Like if you're in 4th gear going around a turn, may not be good because you got to go around a turn slower than you can when you go on a straightaway, and you'll accumulate heat if you go too fast around that turn. But if you're in 4th gear on a speedaway, you can really speed past the other players. And so being in the right gear really matters, and what cards you play really matters in this game. If you're going around a turn, it'll have a number, all right? So it'll have something like 5, all right? And what that means is that you cannot go faster than 5 going around that turn, or you will accumulate heat as well. And so you kind of get the picture. These heat cards, you can accumulate them in a lot of different ways, and they are dead cards. So then when they get to your hand, then you have less options to be able to choose from. And if you don't leverage yourself to cool them off and get rid of them out of your hand, then you're going to have problems, and you're going to go slower, and you're going to be more clunky. And so that's kind of the balance, is like, how fast can I go around this turn? How much heat can I take on so that I go ahead of the rest of the group and not sacrifice, my options later in future turns. And so it's really fun. I think you'll really like it. It also has a lot of expansion things to it, where there are specialized cards. I wouldn't recommend those. It also has a legacy version of it, so that you can play through, basically like a heat, where you go to race to race to race, and get points based upon if you were first, second, third, and stuff that direction, and whoever has the most points at the end win. There's a lot of ways to modify this, and a lot of replayability. It's very fun, very easy to get to the table. Everyone loves it. I played about a dozen times. I played it with grandparents. I played it with little kids. They all seem to get it and enjoy it, and I'm positive that you will too. If you ever see Heat at the board game store, make sure that you take a look and see if you like it and make that purchase. Um, Thank you so much for your time today. If you liked my video, please make sure you like and subscribe, and happy gaming.